Are you ready? If you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya. What's up? I'm awesome. Hello, ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, really? Really? Oh, yeah. Yes. Yowie, wowie. Like mom. Baby. It's true. Believe that.
If you're the kind of person that went and watched Deadpool and Wolverine and got really excited to see Tyler Mane, then this might be the podcast for you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2 Words Podcast.
Whew.
Yeah. Opening up with a Tyler Mane reference. Yep.
You're sitting really high.
I'm sitting.
I feel like my children may have boosted your seat.
I thought it was.
Look, you look real tall right now.
I was just feeling confident. All right. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't remember you being tall.
Yep. You know, had some work done. Whatever. You know. Now we're gonna
Got
talk
my
about
legs lengthened.
it. Yep. Went and saw. What was that guy's name? Todd White. He's the preacher. He's the prosperity preacher
right.
that also does leg extensions.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's
Real
talk about
good
that
at
guy. But yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2 Word Podcast, which, again, like if you're the kind of person that cares about Tyler Mane, former number 440 on the top 500 individual wrestlers of Pro Wrestling Illustrated's top 500 list in 1991.
Wow.
Yep. He played Sabretooth.
Yes, he did.
That was it. He also played a number of other, he was like Ajax and Troy. He's done a lot more acting than...
Yeah.
But anyway, we are back, and we're back for season 8. Who's still out there?
Who knew?
Who's you guys? Just, I know we say this every season, but like, I can't believe anybody's still listening.
I mean, it's technically only season 2 if it's like seasons that we cared about wrestling a lot.
That's true.
We
It
hated
is only
wrestling
season
for
2.
a lot.
Yeah,
At that time.
there was. You know, like if you, and that's the beauty of this podcast. Like, if you don't like wrestling, that's okay. Sometimes we don't either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so
We were just talking about that the other day with, I think I was talking about it with Daedra. It's like those first few seasons, like when we had the summer breaks or whatever, we just stopped watching.
just didn't watch any
It
wrestling.
was so painful.
Yeah, when we started right at the beginning of COVID, like it was such a
Dismal time.
yeah, and everybody was starting podcasts then, but like it was just like, what is happening to this thing that I enjoy?
But I have not missed a single episode since.
I've missed a few,
break.
but they're good. They're, you know,
But you typically miss. You aren't able to catch all of them.
I can't
even
catch
when
everything.
we're recording.
Yeah, I can't catch everything.
YouTube, they've been doing those full recaps
Yeah.
on YouTube
Yeah.
of the episodes. Those have been real nice.
But no, everything, but you know, everything that we have, you know, gone through, like we're still on the upward slope.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know normally we say that at the end of a season, and then we come back and we're just like, everything is awful.
All of summer sucked.
This was the worst thing ever. But we are back and we are enjoying, you know, season 2 of the good years. You know, hallelujah, we're here, and we are back with an episode, Kayfabe Conundrum. We're going to be talking about kayfabe, the storylines, and how that's kind of gotten blurred over the last few years. The line between reality and not reality, if you will. And we're going to kind of be getting into that. But first, hey, yo, Judgment Day could be going through a rebrand soon.
One of mine.
I probably stole a lot of yours.
What a punk.
Because you probably stole one of them. You're probably going to steal one of mine later too. Following the events of SummerSlam, in which Dominic Mysterio betrayed Damian Priest, or Dominic Mysterio did Rhea Ripley, and Finn Balor betrayed Damian Priest.
The whole implosion was great.
Yes, there was a whole implosion. It appears the group will be moving forward with Liv Morgan and Carlito. which is such a weird addition.
It is strange, but I'm not hating it.
But sources say the group's essence will stay the same, but the name change, there is likely a name change coming.
I really hope it's not going to go.
But it's been everywhere.
I know.
Like, I tried to be like, no, there's no way this is the actual name change. And it looks like there's a lot of sources suggesting that the new name might be Street Trash.
Judgment Day is such a strong group name. And it's not like you have to change it whenever a couple members leave, because that's happened already.
Yeah.
And you kept the name.
The leader left.
Yeah.
And you still kept Judgment Day.
Guys.
Street Trash.
It's so bad. And it does. If it's just a poking fun at Damian Priest, okay, that's great for as long as y'all are fighting with Damian Priest, and then after that, you're just known as Street Trash.
Yeah.
No one likes it. No, don't do it.
Somebody had to have been in that meeting.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is a whistleblower type moment. Like someone in that meeting told this to WrestleVotes. Like, hey, this is what's happening right now, in hopes that it'll get all the fans rallied. No way, don't do it.
So there's a guy. If you follow professional sports, there's a guy named Adam Schefter. He is kind of like the NFL guy that breaks news. And at one point, the Browns were looking for a new head coach. And they had said something about, like, we are going to be looking, like, all over the place for the new head coach. And apparently, Adam Schefter like asked one of his sources inside, and they were like, yeah, it might be Condoleezza Rice. And Adam Schefter was like, I don't really believe you, but I'm reporting this. So, like, he was like, they might be, sources tell me that Condoleezza Rice is in the running.
Wow.
But yeah, Street Trash. I'm begging you, stick with Kafudamapa. Like, Scrubs reference there.
Oh, right.
When Turk changes his number to call Tur.
Right.
I'm begging you, stick with Kafudamapa.
Oh, hey, yo, AEW is about to surpass WCW in a couple key things. Already surpassed one thing. As of Friday, August 9th, AEW Rampage has officially surpassed WCW Thunder in total episodes.
Hey.
157 episodes of Rampage now aired on TNT compared to Thunder's 156 run. AEW Rampage has been on the air since August 2021, launching with a strong debut that featured Christian Cage winning the Impact World title from Kenny Omega. The second episode, The First Dance, was the highly anticipated CM Punk return. Mm-hmm. Since then, Rampage has become the C show.
Oh, yeah.
Behind Collision at the B tier now. But looking ahead, the next milestone is AEW Dynamite is about to surpass WCW Monday Nitro, which is crazy to think about.
In episodes made.
Yeah. They currently are sitting at 253. Nitro aired 288.
Okay, I didn't even realize they had done that many.
Yeah. And so we're about to surpass WCW's run.
And that's great. But I think a much more important thing would be, like, have you spent 83 weeks as the number one wrestling program?
That's true.
And they most certainly have not. No, I mean, that's cool. That's great. I think all that proves is that they've got the money to keep going.
True. But they did in Ted Turner's time, too.
Well,
but they didn't have the backing behind them in the end.
But, I think that does go to show, like, more people are... I don't know, because I'm getting into this weird, like, every once in a while you'll see all this stuff, and it's like, there are some people who are very adamant that AEW is for real wrestling fans, and, vice versa. Like, there is actual, like, people fighting about this.
Yeah.
Like they did back then. So, it's cool. I think that AEW will kind of always come in second.
Yeah, they're the Pepsi of the the wrestling world right now.
That's true.
Is AEW okay? We don't have any WWE right now. Is AEW okay?
Is AEW okay? I'll just have Impact. I'll just watch reruns of Golden Girls or something. Something completely different. Hey yo, the wrestling world lost their ever-loving minds over the summer. When a picture of a meeting between Shane McMahon and Tony Khan was posted on the internet, immediately speculation as to what this meeting could be about was running amok, especially given the falling out of Shane's father Vince with the wrestling world. Mm-hmm. The former and like it's weird because I feel like it was a really big deal for 2 days.
Yeah.
And then, like, nobody's talked about it ever since.
Yeah, nothing's come of it yet, really.
Yeah.
It's just, they had a meeting.
Yeah. But former WCW president Eric Bischoff, who I'm actually starting to think may have been right all along. I don't know.
About everything?
About most things, you know. I don't know if it's like Stockholm syndrome, just like the more I listen to him, the more I'm like, maybe he's got a point. I don't know.
This guy's pretty smart.
Yeah, he sounds pretty smart. But he has a thought of his own. Speaking on the Stevie Richards podcast, Wise Choices, Bischoff suggested it might have more to do with Shane's expertise in distribution in China. Because I guess Shane McMahon knows how to distribute television in China, which is probably a really good skill to have.
Oh, you didn't know that he had that skill?
I mean,
pretty apparent to everybody. I don't know.
I mean, everybody knows. Everybody knows that. I don't know.
You think Shane McMahon? You think two things. You think pole-to-pole jumping in the ring and TV distribution rights in China. That's.
Sorry, I'm a moron. I guess I'm uncivilized. I get it. But on the podcast, Bischoff said this: perhaps Shane feels like he's got something to prove. I can't imagine Shane working closely with Tony Khan. There's just an oil and water thing going on there, but hopefully, I think any kind of influence right now would be a positive for AEW. And I think here's the thing, is if it was something, I think the reason it really lost steam after a couple of days was that, you distracted me.
Sorry. I forgot about our line.
I don't know what's I think the reason it lost so much steam after a couple of days is that, like, we've really come accustomed to, if we know about it, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, we just,
if they were going to bring Shane McMahon out on TV.
Yeah. I mean,
tweet the picture.
They kept it a secret that they were getting, that Christian Cage was going to be debuting. WWE, I just think, like, they kept it a secret that Edge was debuting back at the Royal Rumble. They kept it a secret that AJ Styles was debuting. The Hardy Boys debut, they kept that under wraps. You've been able to keep this whole time under wraps, even outside of the wrestling world, you've been able to keep under wraps that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back as Vincent Von Doom until like they wanted you to know.
Right.
So like the time of, with the internet, you can't hide anything. I just don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, you're like, oh, they kept a lot of stuff under wraps that none of us knew until it was time.
Well, none of us knew until the day after, when the entire movie was leaked on the internet in pieces. Like, if you didn't see it on opening night, you were spoiled.
Yeah, no, and that 100%. But even then, not everything got spoiled, for me at least.
It did for me. I saw everything.
I saw all of the cameos.
Yeah.
All of it.
Every line, every great moment.
Yeah.
All of it.
Didn't even have to watch the movie. No. But yeah, I think, like, if something actually was going to happen, they would have kept a better secret.
I agree. Hey, yo, last one here for me. AJ Styles is still in the WWE.
He there?
I don't know if you knew that.
Here we are.
He's been absent from WWE programming since Clash of the Castle, where he lost to Cody Rhodes in his second attempt at the undisputed WWE Championship. Afterward, he went to Pro Wrestling NOAH. Do you pronounce it Noah? I don't know how you pronounce it.
I think they pronounce it Pro Wrestling Noah.
Do they? Okay, so Pro Wrestling Noah, where he faced Naomichi Marufuji. I don't know. Anyway, but like it was hinted at like this push for that last championship match, and then he's kind of done because like the whole storyline was his career's winding down.
Yeah,
and he's got to get that one last belt, and didn't, and then he was gone, and then he's wrestling other places, and so it all appeared to everybody that AJ Styles, he was done. That he wrapped it up.
And he had said like, "This is my last contract."
Yeah, pretty much. But no, he's still here. In fact, he was going to be on SmackDown this past Friday, but it was such a packed show already that they decided to push it to, I believe, this coming Friday. But he's going to have I don't know if it's a match or just a role, but he will be involved at Bash in Berlin at the end of the month. So he's got some storyline coming up.
Fun.
It's weird. I just thought he was gone.
Yeah.
And he's still here. So I just want to let you know.
Well, and he's also made the comment, apparently it's come out, like, he's also, like, I'm not wrestling in Japan anymore either. Like,
yeah.
He's like, that was really just a one-off. Like, I'm not going back to New Japan or anything. So I have two things. One, hey, yo, did you know that Tonga Loa was Camacho?
Who's Camacho?
Camacho. When you line up all of the things that Vince McMahon had done, that you went, well, that's not racist. Camacho is at the top of that list for me.
Really?
Camacho was he was in a tag team with a guy named Unico, and they were their gimmick was that they were cholos. They would come down to they were at WrestleMania 28, and they rode down. They had like the really low baggy jorts with the high knee-high socks and the Converse and the t-shirt with the one button on the top and like the bandana and the hat, and they rode down on a bike, on like a bicycle that had the high ape hanger handlebars. Wow. And one of them was on the back, and they came like rapping cholo music, and that was their thing. But the dude's Samoan. But all Vince McMahon was like, hey, you brown.
Well, I mean, goes back to Yokozuna, right? Yokozuna, also Samoan, not Japanese.
He's not Japanese. Yokozuna. Yeah, no, it sounds Japanese to me. But yeah, I found that out the other day, and I've always been interested. It's like, oh, it was Camacho. Crazy to think about. Yeah.
What's the name though? What does Camacho mean?
I don't know.
Does it just rhyme with nacho and that's what they went with? I don't understand. Kombucha? What's happening? Camacho.
Camacho sounds more native to me.
Yeah.
Maybe just because Comanche.
It's Comanche.
Let's have a white guy
Kombucha
discussion
nacho.
on this. Comanche, Camacho. But yeah.
Camacho.
Yeah, and he was one of those guys, like, he would just be brought out. And I think Unico was Sin Cara.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. As soon as you said Unico, I'm like, okay, I'm remembering this.
But that was their gimmick, is like, they'd be the cholos that... Yeah. And I think at one point they were like, we stole this bike. And that was... It was probably the wrong time to bring out impressions, but... Like, I think they did that. Like,
oh, man.
We stole this bike, and now we have a bike. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't expect that. I've been around a lot of people from Albuquerque, man. It's hard
to avoid.
It's a Burquino kind of thing. But yeah, that's the fun. That's your fun fact for the day. But hey yo, lastly, if I finish this up, hey yo, drama erupted backstage at AEW when Dr. Britt Baker, DDS, was heard making critical comments in reference to a match that MJF was having with Will Ospreay on the July 17th edition of Dynamite. These comments were heard by MJF's girlfriend, Alicia Atot. And allegedly, MJF confronted Britt Baker in the women's locker room where he allegedly screamed in her face and punched a wall. But in an interview with Cultaholic, MJF had this to say: "Tell me if this passes the smell test. I barge into a women's locker room, I scream in the face of a 110-pound woman, and then I physically threaten her by punching a wall in her vicinity, and I don't get suspended. Does that pass the smell test to you? Almost everything that was written didn't happen." I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. That doesn't sound but also it's weird because apparently Britt Baker was also suspended for like 30 minutes. And they were like, nah, we'll bring her back. It's fine. It's like, and then it's weird. It's like the idea that somebody would get suspended for saying mean things about somebody. Like,
this is going to play into our main conversation.
And it definitely will. Cause I think that that's one of the things we have to talk about, but it's like, I really have no idea what's going on in AEW. Like backstage, at least. I don't really know what's going on with their product either, but like, I have no idea. Like when it comes to what's real and what's not, I don't know. Which does lead us into our conversation about kayfabe. And this topic was actually Radio Matt's idea. He texted me over the summer, and said you kind of wanted to do something about this because the night that the Wyatt Sicks, is it SIX or is it SICKX?
That one.
Okay.
Yes.
They're sick.
Six.
As if they're sick. They're multiple sick people.
Yes.
The sick people of Wyatt.
Yes.
The Wyatt Sicks debuted, which was awesome.
Beautifully.
Which was awesome. They beat up a whole bunch of people. They killed Shorty G. They killed Chad Gable. And then he came back the next week. So take that, Cody Rhodes, and your torn pectoral muscle. 3 months. Chad Gable came back to life. But they debuted, and then that night there was a picture of them posted online of them taking a picture with a fan at a Whataburger, which I just love that they were eating at a Whataburger. Because I love it. I mean, get you a green chili double, man. Like it's that's the only thing I want after a show. But Mark Henry, that guy, he had some things to say about that.
He did.
He was on the Busted Open radio show. Is it a podcast or is it a radio show? I think it's both.
Yeah.
The Busted it's on Sirius XM, so I guess it's a radio show.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I think it's on Sirius XM.
Either way,
it doesn't matter. He had this to say: I am disappointed because of the business. How much money the company spends to invest in that product that they're creating, this Wyatt Sicks, and you go to insert expletive Whataburger and take a picture with a fan. Listen, I said number one option, get your food in the drive-thru and drive into the parking lot and eat. Number one, no. No, I'm not going through the drive-thru.
Especially because the Whataburger drive-thru is incredibly long.
Oh, it's all and
forever.
And it takes a long time. And really, let's just talk about Whataburger for a minute. Whataburger burgers are too big to eat while driving.
Absolutely, they are.
It's just too much burger to hand. Like you have to have 2 hands on it. Really, you got to have 2 hands on it.
So Mark Henry obviously doesn't know what he's talking about.
Like Mark, and like you, I know Mark Henry. I've seen how big you are, and I know you're from Texas. I know you know what it takes to eat a Texas-sized Whataburger burger.
But yeah,
I love us, man. I do.
Very upset at the kayfabe breaking.
And so that kind of leads to this question because, you know, it used to be like, especially if you were feuding with a guy, you weren't seen out in public with this person. But now it kind of seems more like, you know, yeah, John Cena and Randy Orton can be seen drinking a cup of coffee together. And it doesn't really seem to bother as many people.
You know, there's a line. We're talking about just breaking kayfabe in general, like based on this photo. You know, it's not Wyatt Sicks out with Chad Gable at Whataburger.
Yeah,
you know, that might be a bit too far in one direction, but just, you know, yeah, okay, they're playing spooky dudes.
Yeah.
But they're also people that have to eat food. Okay.
There's a Whataburger. You gotta eat it.
But like back when we were trying to pretend that everything was real, back in the 90s, back in the late 80s, even the early 2000s, I can understand stay in character.
Yeah.
The most famous of this, Undertaker, stayed in character forever.
Oh, yeah.
Until that Last Ride documentary. That was basically the first time he let the character down in public, which I think took tremendous commitment and was great for his character through the run. That being said, had he kind of stopped doing the whole dead man shtick before that point, I don't think anybody would have cared.
Yeah.
Because he's still an intimidating dude. That bell, you know, rings. Everyone's still going to lose their mind. What the thing now is, over the past 20 years or so, there's been no wrestling fan who's really under the impression that, oh yeah, everything happening here is real.
Yeah.
Like, we know that it's fixed. We know that it's choreographed.
Yeah.
And we know that the storylines are just soap operas, essentially.
Yeah. Like,
we know this because all of these people would be in jail.
Yeah.
If it wasn't.
Ron Fuchs has a stand-up bit about people telling him wrestling is fake. And he's like, what kind of psychopath would I have to be to think they were doing this?
Right. I like the only kind of people that still like buy into all of this is real are the same kind of people that are mad that Jenna Fisher is not actually married to John Krasinski.
That's true.
And there are people like that out there. Like, you're not Jim. You know,
Jim's not Asian.
but I mean, it's not. Back then, you needed to believe.
Yeah.
Because they were pushing that this whole thing was real.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's a TV show. It's Dwight Schrute.
Yeah.
Complaining about being called Dwight Schrute for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Like, he's Rainn Wilson. Dwight was a character he played 20 years ago on NBC.
10. Just
2004 is when it started.
2004. Oh gosh. It ended 10 years ago, but it went for 10 years. Oh no. Oh no. Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, I feel like Mark Henry's overreacted on that just a little bit.
Well, to me, when I heard what Mark Henry had said, I was like, oh, were they in their masks? That sounds like it could be. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, like I get that being a problem, I guess, but like,
you can't have Uncle Howdy walking out of a men's room.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I don't. And it was at the time when, I mean, we knew who everybody in the Wyatt Sicks was, but it wasn't really confirmed we knew who everybody in the Wyatt Sicks was. So it's kind of like, well, you know, to me, this is all fine.
But more to your point, though, real quick, because you had mentioned if they're in a feud together and they're seen out.
Yeah.
I still think there's a little bit of need to separate direct opponents, because we don't want to feel like it's a, that we're believing a TV show is real.
Yeah.
But we do want to kind of feel like it's UFC, it's boxing, it's something like that. We do want to feel like the opponents actually hate each other.
Yeah.
Because we buy into that feud. Like if we saw Drew McIntyre and CM Punk going to the movies this weekend together, that would really kill the whole momentum of the thing right now. And so I do believe that in current moving storylines, the opponents should at least be traveling separately, should at least be avoiding each other, whether or not there's any actual bad blood or not, just for the sake of protecting the active storyline.
Yeah.
From unneeded complications.
But that's not what Mark Henry's getting upset about.
Correct.
I remember a number of years ago, because you talk about Undertaker staying in character like the whole time. And I remember, I don't know how long ago it was, but there was video that came out of Alberto Del Rio, and he was a heel at the time. And like some people were asking for his autographs, and he was just like, "No, I'm not giving you my autograph. I don't like you. I don't care about you." Like he was playing the heel,
being the character, yeah.
And like everybody started crapping on him for it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, what do you want?" Like,
yeah. It's hard. Like I think about MJF, and I'm like, part of his gimmick is he acts like a jerk in public too.
Yeah.
But like, it almost feels like he's always kind of winking at it.
Yeah.
In public, like on purpose. Like he's making sure they know that he's being the heel character.
Yeah.
It's got to be a difficult thing to do. As a babyface, you see anybody who see you can do whatever you want. People are going to love you. But if you're trying to be that heel character in public, I think that's hard. I think there are a lot of fine lines that are case-by-case basis. Like I'm remembering when Rusev and Lana were separated in the story, but then Lana posted that they had just gotten engaged on Instagram in real life. And that killed the momentum of the story.
Oh, yeah. Well,
like, congratulations to you. You should have saved that until the storyline was over, though.
Liv Morgan coming out of a cake at Lana and Bobby Lashley's wedding kind of killed that momentum. To me, that was what killed the momentum.
Well,
a lot more than their relationship, you know.
But like that's also kind of why I've always had a hard time with the Rhea Ripley and the Dominic Mysterio storyline,
because she's always posting pictures of her and Buddy Murphy.
She's clearly with Buddy Murphy everywhere else on the internet.
Yeah,
I don't buy this relationship. I buy the breakdown of it. Yeah, but like it. If you're going to be in a story that is pushing a specific part of your life as real, then you do need to kind of tone back a little bit things that go directly against it when it comes to social media. Because there is no escaping social media now. Like, I understand, like we talked about earlier, things can be kept secret. Yeah. Even in this time of social media, but not when you're posting all your stuff of your real life for the whole world. You're just living your life.
I get that.
Yeah. It's just, it's a difficult line to walk. But when it comes to, I don't want to believe these semi-supernatural wrestlers have to eat food. Yeah. And like fans.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a little bit too much. Well, and so I texted a group chat with some guys that I'm in, and
so I texted Shorty G.
I texted Shorty G, and I just asked, "What do you think?
How did you do it? How did you rejuvenate?
How are you alive now?" No, I texted the group chat, and our buddy Mike had this to say that the rise of before social media, famous people could have some sort of privacy in their lives. Mm-hmm. But the rise of professional wrestling to a worldwide phenomenon sort of rose along with the internet, and social media has definitely played a large part in kayfabe fading. Yeah. It's just like you said, and we can still have this suspension of disbelief. That's fine. But at some point these people have to live their lives. You know, this isn't some like Truman Show where everybody has to be playing a character all of the time, all day, every day. Like, that's just not how this goes. You know, and it's kind of like when people take pictures of, Disney characters at the parks and they're like on their cigarette break. And you have like some dude in a Goofy outfit and he's just like leaning over the bar, leaning over the rail. He's just like,
It's so freaking hot in it. But I mean, it is a hard, it's a hard line to walk. I mean, we see that even in the press conferences that WWE is doing now after a pay-per-view. It's like most of it is in character. Most of it's like, I just went out there and I beat this person up and I won this title because I deserve it. But then Triple H goes up there and talks about, Damian Priest had a botch in this match. And, and things like that happen. You know, people mess up the choreography. And like he's basically just laying out the whole, we put on a great performance tonight.
Great show.
It was a great show.
And it's weird to me when they do those press conferences and they're not in character. It's weird to me.
And it's weird that it's not consistent.
Yeah.
That they are going to be in character or they're not going to be in character. It's like depending on who's at the mic at that point.
I don't know. I think it's very strange.
I think if we can just all accept, though, that it's a show for our entertainment. It's a movie they're putting on for us. It's a play.
Yeah.
It's a play for us. You don't go see Hamilton and then get freaked out that they're still alive.
Manuel Miranda's still alive, people.
He doesn't die in the movie.
Doesn't actually.
Or in the play.
He dies in the play, but not in real life.
Right. He doesn't actually bleed out.
Which I actually, we could have a conversation why I think that Hamilton should be considered an opera, but that's a whole nother conversation to be had at a later date. But that is my stance in case anyone was wondering. Now, we talked about the whole Britt Baker MJF thing, and we alluded to that being part of this conversation. It seems as though AEW has really tried to blur those lines in a way that, like, at this point, I don't know what's story, and I don't know if this place is actually imploding on itself.
Right.
Like, I can't tell. Like, I could not tell if CM Punk was in on all of this. Turns out he wasn't. But, I can't tell if Hangman Adam Page is a disgruntled employee anymore.
Right.
I don't know if this is real or not. And that's actually really frustrating. Like,
right. Like, there was the fun thing with, like, MJF. MJF has been a couple times, coming up at the end of a contract or whatever and been pretending like, I don't know if I'm going to stick around in this company. Yeah. But that's been part of his character. His character is, I can do whatever I want. I'm a big name. People want me.
Yeah.
WWE wants me. Everybody wants me. And then ultimately he stays with AEW. The issue that I have, I think, really came up with the Jack Perry CM Punk thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously that was a real situation. Tony Khan got out there and said, I feared for my actual life. Like, I've never done that. Never felt for my life. And then they used the footage as a part of a storyline, showed the footage, and the footage was more underwhelming than a kayfabe backstage fight that they would have. And so if this weird little altercation with barely anything happening was enough to make Tony Khan actually fear for his life for the first time, how are we believing any kayfabe's thing that's happening in the back is actually, putting anyone in danger? Like, you put too much of the reality in front of the camera and it's underwhelming. Mm-hmm. How are we going to be blown away by the fake stuff that we're supposed to believe is reality in AEW? He needs to keep the reality crap out of it. Stop telling us about everybody's altercation, real or not.
Yeah.
Stop telling us about, this person got suspended because they punched a wall or yelled at somebody or whatever. Stop telling us. Let those things happen in the back. Let them happen with HR.
And
leave us out of it. We don't care.
Yeah. You simply
give us the show.
I cannot figure out, again, like, there's a lot of it's weird. I can't figure out what's real and what's not, like where there's actual tension. And so I'm just like, am I supposed to care about this? Am I not supposed to care about this? Should I care about it a little more? Like, I don't know.
And when they're real, I don't want to care about it.
Yeah.
Because it's always lame.
Yeah.
And so it makes me fear that things are real now. Yeah. Now I don't want them to be real. Can we please have a story? Tell us a fib and make it entertaining. Don't give us the boring reality that people are kind of jerks to each other sometimes.
Yeah.
We can see that any day. I can go to Walmart and see that right now. I don't need that in my stories. I don't need that in my wrestling.
I don't need the boring reality that people are mean to each other.
Yes. I want the flamboyant reality of people are mean to each other and they're coming for you at the next All-In pay-per-view. That's what I want.
Yeah.
If Britt Baker and MJF aren't going to have an intergender match, I don't care about it. For God's sake.
That's the one. That's the one. No. And I think we're all secretly hoping it does happen.
I'm 100% in for it.
Yeah.
I will buy that pay-per-view.
But, regardless of whether, like, people are getting food at Whataburger, regardless of whether these guys are, actual friends or not, doesn't really seem to bother us.
No.
I can still watch the product. I can still enjoy the product. And we're going to be watching the product and enjoying the product all throughout this season. And hopefully for a lot longer to come, but we're actually going to be enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. SummerSlam was great.
Yeah, SummerSlam was awesome. It was a good show.
Every pay-per-view has been at least B or above for the last year and a half. And I don't think that's been the case in a long time. So even long before the podcast started.
Yeah. I'm pumped for it, but stick with us every other. What do we premiere? Thursdays?
We're on Wednesdays now. Starting
every other
this year, we're on Wednesdays.
Every other Wednesday, for the next couple months at least, and go back, listen to everything on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play.
Yeah, wherever.
I think anywhere you can get a podcast, you can get us.
And make sure you subscribe to our new official. Our own YouTube channel, also at 2 Words LTN. You'll find all of our stuff there, maybe some bonus stuff every now and then too. All the podcasts have broken free from the main Love Thy Nerd channel because it was getting congested, and there's 12 podcasts in the network now, and it's just too much.
That's too many podcasts.
So now you can subscribe just to the podcast that you want, and if you're here, that means you want 2 Words at 2 Words LTN over on YouTube.
If there's a survivor style competition with the other podcasts to see who gets to stick around, just count me out.
Well, I mean, it's a bunch of skinny nerds versus us.
Oh, count me in.
Fat nerds.
Count me in. Count me in. We're coming for you. Pull list. You're next. That should be every podcast, just us challenging the other.
We should do a
church nerds.
Check in every week. Like, still no reply from those weenies over at the poll list on our challenge for Survivor Series.
Guess they're just too afraid. Oh, man. That would be fun. But we'll be back with more content that hopefully you will enjoy. But until then, my name's John. His name's Matt. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Bye.